Fellas, in today's video, we are going to be looking at how to play solo queue ranked in Marvel Rivals. Now, if you played ranked at all, you will know that sometimes your team composition can absolutely be horrid. Sometimes you end up with 0 tanks, 5 DPS, and 1 support. Sometimes you get 2 tanks, 2 supports, and 2 duelists. Sometimes it's 3 tanks, 3 supports. There's many different combinations that you'll see. And there's 37 characters to choose from, making each match fairly unique. With that being said, that does mean that sometimes your team will get stomped, sometimes the other team is just better than your team. It happens. But sometimes your team is just poorly optimized, and so while you can't control them, nor can you control the other team, you still can control your own actions. So let's hop into what you can do to improve and make sure you get as far as you can while solo queuing. Starting off, you probably heard this one before, but choose 2 heroes from every class and learn them as best as you can. That way, at the very least, you can still do the classic 2-2-2 composition, making sure that if you happen to be playing a healer that match and someone else is a support already, you have a support that you can play yourself. So let's look at the best hero to choose in each class and then cover the others. Starting with Vanguard, Doctor Strange is easily going to be the best hero that you can choose. I'm not going to do an in-depth cover of his abilities. I already have a guide for that, which you can check out. The most important thing is his shield. It's wide, it's big, and it absorbs all the projectiles that could shot your way. You can use it to block Hela's ultimate. You can use it to stop Namor's ultimate. This would be great at creating space, allowing your team to move up. If there's no other tanks on your team, Doctor Strange is a fantastic choice. If there is another tank on your team, Doctor Strange is still a great choice to pick. The only thing that you really need to be aware of is his passive, Rise of the Magic, where, as you can see in the middle here, if this fills up to 100, you can't be healed. You have to press your E ability, then you can be healed again. As for the other tank that you should choose, if there is only 1 tank, it's going to be your job, your responsibility to fill in that tank. That'll be the best choice to make for this ranked game. If there is no other tank on your team, it'll be your responsibility, your flexible responsibility to be the tank that game. Thus, Doctor Strange is the best choice for that. If there is another tank on the team, then you can choose one of the remaining tanks, whoever that you play the best. And that way you can fill in and fill out the team to help win that match. Bruce Banner's a fantastic pick. He has good matchups. Captain America is good for diving the back line. Groot is Groot. He's good at stopping advances. He's good at singling off targets. Magneto honestly is a fantastic choice, my personal choice. He also has a shield. He can help protect the supports, and he does a lot of damage. Penny Parker's great if you're on defense. The Thing is great for canceling mobility abilities. Thor is awesome if you want to be a powerhouse. And Venom is a fantastic dive tank. He has great sustainability. Any one of these heroes is a good choice. If there happens to be 2 tanks that match, there's no need for you to choose a third, so you only really need to learn Doctor Strange and one other person. Moving on to Strategist. As a general, that has to be Cloak and Dagger. Cloak has really good offensive abilities. He's good at obstructing visibility, and his cape allows you to survive ultimates as well as your team members. Dagger, however, has auto aim with her basic attack. This allows you to get in as much healing as possible. You don't even need to be that accurate. Plus, her attacks bounce off walls, meaning it'll hit your ally or an enemy member, either healing or causing damage. She has the ability to heal herself with her bubble, and she can shoot at a wall to do great healing as well. This is a fantastic choice if you have to play a support person. If someone else is support and they have chosen Cloak and Dagger, you can choose any of the other support members. Rocket Raccoon is good for massive healing. Not so much for damaging, but his ultimate is pretty handy. It gives a beefy defense. It gives a beefy offensive boost, allowing your team to win fights. Mantis is not the best for healing, but she is good for hitting flyers. She can stun enemies, do healing over time, and give attack buffs. Her ultimate is not the best, but is useful. Luna Snow, not the best healer, but her ultimate is extraordinarily broken, and she can throw her idol on another person, healing them as well as someone else at the same time. Loki's a fantastic choice as well. His ultimate allows you to do offensive or defensive ultimates, and his basic attack is area of effect, allowing you to get an easy healing or damage at the same time. Jeff is Jeff. He's really technical if you want to play him and get good at him, and his ultimate is hard to counter. If you do pick Jeff, I suggest looking up guides in order to get the most out of him. Invisible Woman, a lot of Fantastic Four members at the moment. They're fairly common. Great team ups. Her ultimate is really strong as well. Personally, I'd recommend Adam Warlock as he is extraordinarily offensive if you play him right. He can deal a lot of healing as well, and he has a soul bond and the ability to revive your team if they happen to die. Any one of these is a great pick. The Cloak and Dagger should be the one that you main first. After that, there's a large list of DPS you could choose from. Magic, I think, has to be the best duelist that you could pick at the moment because she fits into many roles. But first, I do want to cover, with her ultimate, you can kill support players who have used their ultimate, getting rid of that ultimate, but she is very offensive. She could play defensively as well. She could take on just about anyone. You can play her as an off tank, you can play her as anti-dive, you can even dive yourself if you go into the enemy backline. She's very tricky to learn. You will need to put in some time with her to really get good with her, but this will be the best player that you can be if you happen to be solo queuing and you need a DPS. After that, it's really up to you on who you would choose as your second. You might end up choosing a few more DPS than just two. As you move up in rank play, your team composition will change a lot more. So I do recommend you actually figure out and learn a few different of the DPS characters over just two. But if you had to pick just one, Iron Man is a great choice as he has an ultimate that can wipe out an entire team and kill anyone. Namor is great if you happen to deal with a lot of flyers. Hela over Hawkeye as she is a fantastic sniper. She can eliminate squishies with 2 shots. But if you can't aim and you want to play more safe than sorry, Squirrel Girl is going to be your choice. Very simple to learn. She can deal a ton of damage. You don't even have to be that accurate. Just shoot in the general vicinity. And honestly, sometimes you just happen to get lucky and deal damage anyways. So you cannot control who your team chooses to play, and you'll have teammates that insta-lock for DPS. That happens. But when that does happen, in ranked play, you need to be flexible. As you're solo queuing, go support. If you have 3 DPS, 2 supports, don't be that 4th DPS, go Vanguard. Play Doctor Strange, help your team win. You can't control your team's actions, and yeah, they'll probably annoy the heck out of you. That happens. But you're not here to have fun in ranked play, you're here to win. If you want to have fun, just play casual, play quick match, no problem with that. Now as you do start to rank up and you start to fill out your team, this is where team ups become extraordinarily important. Some of them honestly don't matter all too much, like fastball special. The Hulk and the Thing can throw Wolverine. Yeah, it's good to get him out faster, but I really don't see much benefit to it. When you have team ups like Invisible Woman and the rest of the Fantastic Four, this will give each of the members the ability to get overshield, some basic healing in case they happen to be off on their own for a few seconds. Invaluable. Yeah, for example, like Planet X Pals, defensive, right? Root will give Rocket and Jeff damage reduction. Venom, not to honestly, not all that great. That they're a great Venom. Helps keeps the supports alive a little bit, but choice. Yeah. But one like Chilling Charisma, where Jeff and Namor get a special ice move, invaluable. Guardian Revival. Adam Warlock will be able to allow Mantis and Star-Lord to revive. Very helpful in team fights in case they die or they're off on their own. Lunar Force, if you happen to play Cloak and Dagger and there's a Moon Knight on the team, this will give Cloak and Dagger bonus healing. 15%. I cannot stress enough how great that is. 15% more healing. That could be the difference between death or winning a fight. And Gamma Charge is probably one of the better ones as well. Black Panther having a Bruce as well as a Doctor Strange or Iron Man. With Iron Man, he gets a beefed up overcharge, dealing a ton more damage. And Doctor Strange doesn't just stop getting healed when he hits 100 on his passive. But that's not necessarily what it means to play as part of the team or to fill out a team. That is talking purely about team ups. So if you have a team of divers, for example, so like Captain America, Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Venom, for example, they are going to be spread out up in the air. They're going to be really hard to heal. You'll have a hard time keeping up with them. Cloak and Dagger would be the best choice as a support, as you just have to shoot in their general vicinity and you'll be able to heal them. If you were to play someone like Loki, for example, this would not be a great idea, as you have to be rather accurate, as even though he has an area of effect healing, his projectiles are slow, and with their team moving around a bunch, it'll be hard to heal them, especially if they're up in the air. Rocket would be another good example for a good healer in this regard, as he shoots out his healing balls and they bounce around. You don't even have to be that accurate, just shoot it in their general vicinity and they should be able to heal up. If you're playing on a team full of flyers like Iron Man, Human Torch, Storm, Spider-Man, and like Scarlet Witch, that's going to be a bad composition on a team that has Hela and the Punisher and Namor, for example. as they are great at dealing with flyers. You'll be slow moving around, they'll have an easy time taking you out. That will not be a good choice to do. And that way, with the heroes that I did recommend, Doctor Strange, Magic, as well as Cloak and Dagger, they fit into most team compositions. It's better to have someone that you're generally good at, rather than being that fourth insta-locking DPS, one that's not needed for a team when your team really desperately needs another support or even a Vanguard. One tricking just one hero will make you lose many games. You're better off getting comfortable with 2 to 3 heroes in each role. Again, just to cover, instead of being that fourth DPS player, you need to focus on the team that you're given over the team that you ideally would like. You can't control the team, you can only control yourself, and in ranked play, it's all about winning. And as much as skill is important to the game, your mindset and your teammates' mindset is also very important. And then if you lose a couple of fights in a row, be objective about your gameplay. If you're constantly being smoked and sought out by a Black Panther, do something about it. Change who you're playing, pick a hero that counters him, or at least helps negate the dive characters, and that will help improve the game and ideally help you win. This doesn't mean that you'll win every single game. You're going to have games where it's abundantly clear that the other team just is better. That happens. But for the other games, the majority of the other games, this is where you can be the change. You can be the one that carries the team forward. Now, thus far, if you've been solely a Vanguard main or a DPS main, I highly suggest you play some games of support. I wholeheartedly suggest you get in a good 10, 20, honestly, probably 30 plus games of playing support, as this will give you invaluable information. This will show you what the rest of the team is doing. This will show you what the rest of the team is doing, how they're playing, what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing. And that'll give you information for the times that you do play Vanguard, that you do play the Duelist, on what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. You'll have to be incredibly mindful of your own positioning. You'll have to be incredibly mindful of your teammates' positioning. You'll see how the tanks regularly overextend. You'll see how your DPS regularly go off on their own, try to take on a 1v4 and get slaughtered. This will give you a greater game sense for how the front line is made, how the back line is made. This will show you how the flankers think and play, and this will give you a much greater understanding of how the games actually play across all roles. And then afterwards, let's say you move on to Vanguard, you finish up these games of support and you notice that, man, my tanks would regularly go ahead when no one else is around them and push up to that 1v6 and get killed. I hate when that happens. Let me wait a little bit for my team to catch up and then push a little bit forward. Now you'll realize like, oh, I need to be by my healers. I need to keep somewhat of an eye on them in order to keep them alive so that they can keep me alive. That way you'll know, oh, if I take this corner and push forward, my healers won't be able to see me and thus I'm easier to kill. Aside from being flexible and learning any team composition, playing those support games to get better game sense will make a world of a difference and help take you further. And then your mileage may vary, although I think it is for the best. You can turn off the text chat, you can turn off the voice chat. Your team, even if you play the best game of your life, can still end up tilted. You can still lose even if you play the best you ever have. That does happen. But a teammate that is tilted who has a bad mindset, that spreads that negativity, that'll bring you down and it'll make you do worse. Don't be afraid to mute the person who is crying about their elo. All you really need in a game for a good while is just pings. Ping where you're going, ping that you need health. It's totally fine. And lastly, I really just need to say this. Learn what characters are good for attacking and what characters are good for defense. Someone like Thor is great for attacking, making space, pushing up. He's not going to be great at defense. Someone with a shield, they'll be better for defense. Penny Parker also is great for defense. If you're insta-locking Venom while playing defense, that's a bad choice because you are pushing up when you should be staying back. So as much as you got to choose the hero for your team composition, you also need to be thinking about the actual game mode that you're playing. All the different characters have different roles, and yes, you can make a bad choice just because you insta-lock your main that you're so good at. So for example, if you're playing defense and you insta-lock Psylocke, yeah, your team may still win the match, but you yourself are throwing, and that's a bad play. It's a bad mindset. That's not going to be something that helps promote you to win. You're a hindrance. But that is Marvel Rivals in a nutshell. You got to put time in, you got to put effort in. You do have to actually play the game quite a bit in order to get good and move up in the game. If you play 3 matches once a week, odds are you are not going to climb very high in the ranks. But if you're playing 10, 15 games a day and you still can't climb the ranks and you're doing poorly at the person that you play, at some point, it's no longer your team's fault. You need to be objective. Look at how you're playing. You can definitely improve. And that's a wrap on this Marvel Rivals ranked video. Tell me, did I miss anything? Or do you have any tips of your own you think other people should know? Leave it in the comments below. And hey, hit that like button if you're still watching. Subscribe for more videos like this if you haven't already. Stay tuned for the next one.